My name is Emily Thompson. I'm 29 years old. The night that changed the course of my life began with my father's merciless ridicule at a grand ball. That evening, in a lavish banquet hall, people as always offered endless applause and praise to my younger sister, Lily. My father raised his glass, looked straight at me with undisguised disdain, and said, "You'll never be as good as your sister." In an instant, laughter rippled through the room, sharp as needles, piercing my heart. Under the spotlight, Lily smiled gracefully, as if she had been born for that dazzling stage. And me? I stood there in a pair of high heels that had already torn into my feet after 14 hours of work at the port of Savannah, holding a glass of champagne I hadn't even touched, my heart completely numb. I took a deep breath and said loudly, "Then let her pay the bills. I won't be sending money home anymore." My father merely scoffed, glancing around as he basked in the attention, and replied, "What money? We've never received a single cent from you." At that moment, I looked at him and at Lily, and I didn't argue, because I knew I had the evidence to shatter his lie. The encrypted folder on my computer labeled Harbor. Inside it were records of every transfer, every invoice, every emergency payment, and every lie they had ever told me. For years, I had worked as an auditor at a shipping company, dealing with endless numbers and exhausting workloads, silently supporting this family. Yet in their eyes, everything I gave was worth nothing. When I was a child, Lily's birthdays were always grand and extravagant. Mine was just a simple cake from the supermarket. As we grew older, my parents paid for her education without hesitation, sending her off to chase her dreams while I struggled under the weight of student loans. After I started working, whenever the family had financial trouble, my father always found a reason to ask me for help. The company's tax issues, insurance for the warehouse, property fees for my mother's old house, even Lily's legal fees from a contract dispute, all of it fell on me. That night, when I got home, I sat in front of my computer and opened the folder again. The total stared back at me. $184,612. The number felt like a final verdict, forcing me to see the truth of how deeply I had been exploited. I picked up my phone and called Jack, my colleague from my first logistics job, and the person I trusted most. After listening to everything, he said firmly, "Print all the evidence. Stop supporting them tonight. Don't wait any longer." So I followed his advice. I logged into the company's financial system, revoked every emergency payment authorization I had set up for my family, and shut down all automatic transfers. For the first time, I felt something close to freedom. The next day, my mother kept calling, anxiously asking me to come home for dinner so we could talk things through as a family. My father, on the other hand, maintained his so-called authority in silence, probably hoping pressure alone would make me give in. But this time, I wouldn't. On Sunday, I went to my parents' house with the evidence neatly organized. The dining room looked the same as always, luxurious decor, exquisite tableware, but to me, it all felt hollow. Lily was already seated, dressed beautifully, wearing an expression of practiced vulnerability. My father sat at the head of the table, ready to pass judgment. The moment he saw me, he snapped, "You caused a scene in public and humiliated this family. You owe your sister an apology." I sat down calmly and met his gaze. "I will not apologize for telling the truth." He frowned. "What truth? Don't stand there pretending you've been supporting this entire family." I let out a cold laugh, pulled an envelope from my bag, and slid it across the table. He glanced at it casually, then froze. Salary assistance, tax advances, insurance gaps, housing payments, Lily's legal fees, image management expenses. His fingers tightened around the paper. My mother leaned in, her face turning pale. Lily asked nervously, "What is this?" "This," I said coldly, "just a portion. I intended to resolve this privately. But since you keep denying everything, I have no problem letting everyone know." My father tried to recover. "You're exaggerating. You gave that money voluntarily." I looked straight at him. Say that again, in front of everyone. Say you never received a single cent from me. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. I stood up. From now on, none of this family's expenses have anything to do with me. Lily's problems are her own. I'm done. I turned and walked out, leaving them behind in stunned silence. On Monday, my father's company began to collapse under a broken cash flow. He called me in a rage, demanding answers. I replied calmly, I just stopped doing the things you claimed I never did. Lily texted me, worried her show recordings would be affected. I responded without hesitation. When Dad was lying, why weren't you worried about timing then? Not long after, Jack discovered something even more shocking while reviewing the records. My father had been secretly diverting the money I sent, hiding accounts from his company's books, and allowing Lily to use company funds to build her image, all while telling me the business couldn't survive without my support. That deception destroyed the last illusion I had about this family. Meanwhile, the Thompson Foundation's charity gala was approaching an event crucial to my father, where he needed to secure partnerships and investments. Jack warned me, if my father still refused to come clean, I should expose everything. That night, I arrived at the gala fully prepared, carrying complete documentation. I deliberately showed up 10 minutes late. As I entered, I saw my father and Lily smiling, confidently mingling with guests. On stage, my father spoke passionately about the company's legacy, emphasizing integrity and hard work. I walked forward, interrupted him, took the microphone, and said calmly, before we celebrate, Father, shouldn't you correct something you said last week? You told everyone you've never received a single cent from me. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to me. My father's face darkened as he tried to stop me. But I continued. I presented the evidence, every transaction, every expense clearly documented. He tried to claim it was fabricated. Then Jack stepped forward. These are verified bank records, he said firmly. Account numbers, dates, transaction references. They cannot be falsified. The documents passed from hand to hand. My father's reputation collapsed in real time. In the end, he broke down and admitted everything, but it was too late. I announced publicly that I would no longer bear any financial responsibility for the Thompson family. In that moment, I felt an overwhelming sense of release. Years of pressure gone. After that, the family business quickly declined. Investors lost confidence. Orders vanished. Employees resigned. My mother was forced to sell the house she had always been so proud of. Lily lost her spot on the show. Her fiancé, unable to withstand the damage to the family's reputation, called off their engagement. And me? I finally walked away from that suffocating family. I moved into an apartment with a beautiful ocean view and started a financial consulting firm with Jack. Now, whenever I look at the copy of those documents on my desk, I don't feel pain anymore. I feel power. A reminder that only by confronting injustice can you truly reclaim your life.